What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we're here for AEWonTNT review for January the 20th, 2020, the day America died. But that's neither here nor there. Tonight's show was, I guess, decent. It wasn't the best show. I mean, this was celebrating Brody Lee Jr.'s birthday today, which apparently was 3 days ago. That was funny, but I don't know, it just seemed like AEW wasn't all there. Like, they were missing something tonight. So, we have our show. We start off with Hangman Adam Page, Colt Cabana, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds versus the Hybrid 2 and Chaos Project. Because, again, this is celebrating Brody Lee Jr.'s birthday. This is his match that he got to book. So, they have, when we start the show, a table with a cake on it. The Dark Order come out. Brody Jr. is on top of, I think it's 10, wearing his dad's jacket, has the mask on, all that stuff. So John Silver gets all there's gonna be two things that happen today. Today we're going to get ourselves a new member of the Dark Order, and it's Brody's birthday. So the fans were chanting "Happy Birthday" for the majority of this, anyway, when this was going on. So they sing "Happy Birthday." Out comes Chaos Project. Luther practically rips into Brody Lee Jr., which prompts Dark Order to fight them. Hybrid 2 comes out. It's a 3-on-4 advantage for the Hybrid 2 and Chaos Project. Hangman comes out, dives onto everybody in one, and like a Superman dive, and we have the match. Was it a decent match? I guess you can say that. I mean, Luther is, of course, 50-something. I think he's like 51, 52 years old. He's out there wrestling with a bunch of young guys. Serpentico just... By the way, did you know Serpentico is John Cruz? That's something I found out. I was like, oh, the more you know. But the match was nothing special. It is what it was. Now, there was a moment in this match where I believe it was Colt Cabana was up on the... I'm sorry, no. No, yeah, it was Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana was up. Colt Cabana and Luther were up by the cake. And Luther was going to powerbomb Colt Cabana through the cake. So, -1, which, of course, the rest of the Dark Order, -1, was sitting in between the stage and the announce table. Goes over, whacks Luther once on the back. So, Colt Cabana, with that distraction, is able to lift him up and put him through the cake. So, the cake's been absolutely destroyed. That's just typical wrestling cake. You know, if you're in a professional wrestling show and there is cake, somebody's getting the cake in their face, and this time it was Luther. So, the match finish was awesome, though, because you had... John Silver had... Who was it? It was... Serpentico... looks like he's going to go for a German suplex. He's holding him. Page hits the buckshot lariat, knocking him over with it was a buckshot lariat into a German suplex, and then Alex Reynolds, who was the legal man, flips over into a jackknife for the 1, 2, 3, and that was that. After the match, before we can figure out what's going to happen with Hangman Page, they hold up Serpentico. And Brody Lee says, Brody Jr.'s like, you're going to try to ruin my birthday? That's not how it works around here. Whacks him straight on the head with the kendo stick and says, my birthday was 3 days ago, you idiots. And that was that. So, after that, we have the tag team in the ring. And John Silver's trying to butter this guy up. Like, man, you're handsome and you're a great wrestler and all this other stuff. And gets on his one knee and says, will you join the Dark Order? Hangman, thinking about it, says, I can't. And then you hear music playing. You see these 3 banners come down. It says, he said yes. And they had people coming out supposed to be like celebrating, so they kick him away. And he's like, dude, it's been great. I've been trying to drag this as long as I can, but you kind of forced my hand this week. I've been in the group thing before, and I can't do it again. So, Hangman and Page does not join the Dark Order. So it's like, hey, Hangman, wait! And he walks away before he can say anything, so that was that. So, Hangman Page does not join the Dark Order. Is this the last we'll see of Hangman Page in the Dark Order skits and segments? Probably not. I think they're going to still try and do something and maybe change his mind. I don't know. Backstage, Alex Marvez with MJF and Chris Jericho. He talks about the match tonight. MJF tells Jericho he's worried tonight's match is going to hit the inner circle and break them and divide them. Jericho doesn't think so. He says it'll make the group stronger. It will decide which tag team moves forward to go after the World Tag Team titles. Jericho says he fully believes him and MJF are going to win, which MJF agrees with, and they will eventually be the champs. So, now we come to the next segment, which is supposedly Sting congratulating Darby Allin for being TNT champion. I don't understand why they wanted to do this, but Sting comes out. He's rocking a Brody Lee shirt, so solidarity with the crowd, with the fans. That's with the people. That's awesome for him. And then out comes, they bring out Darby Allin. He gives the mic to Sting, and Sting pretty much says that I didn't come out last week to give you an advantage. I came out here to give Darby Allin a fair shake to win the to defend his TNT championship because Ricky Starks was getting involved. And he congratulated him for being TNT champion. I'm like, he couldn't do this privately. It leads to Taz saying, "Shut up, Sting." He's on the monitor or on the Titantron, telling them basically that you guys didn't play fair because you used the baseball bat. He used his belt to tie up Brian Cage. So basically, they want to take this to the streets. And Taz tells them the ball's in the court. Sting says something to Allin we don't get to hear. Allin takes a mic and says, "You want to take this to the streets, Taz? Be careful what you wish for because it might just happen." Now, Sting, of course, is not going to be wrestling any traditional match. Sting's time in the actual ring in a non-cinematic version or something like that, it's over. It's absolutely over. You're not going to be seeing him taking suplexes or drop kicks or doing a drop kick or anything like that. That part of Sting's career is done and over with. He is going to be doing he can do a street fight where he doesn't take any bumps and he just, a couple swings here, a couple swings there, hits a couple guys, back body drop them, stuff like that. Now, by the time the end of the night is, we do not know when this is going to happen, what they're going to do. I mean, we do have two next week's show, and then Beach Break the week after that, which is crazy, but yeah. They remind us that Thunder Rosa vs. Britt Baker will taking place at Beach Break on February 3rd, which is going to probably be in Miami, because AEW is supposed to be leaving Daily's place for the month of February due to it being just way too cold in the upper part of Florida, where Miami, it's nice and sunny and warm, I guess, all year round. The Young Bucks go to Kenny Omega's house to meet Omega. Michael Nakazawa greets them and bring them to Omega. They see an oil painting of Omega and Callis, but shirtless and muscled up, a gift from Don Callis for his birthday, even though his birthday's in October. Callis shows up. Bucks aren't happy about what happened last week. Callis said he had someone in his ear and they had to change stuff up on the fly. Callis says Omega can't make it to today's meeting, which annoys Matt and Nick. Callis says Omega had to change up his phone number because others were blowing up his phone. Callis was surprised that Bucks didn't get it. He says he's glad they're here. He then kicks Marvez and the camera guy out, but puts the camera down so we can watch what happens, what he's trying to really do. And he basically just says, you know what, guys, it's been fun. You guys have been knowing him for 12 years. You've done so much with him. But I'm going to sit here and I'm going to write you guys these checks. And we're just going to call it even there. That's 12 years of servitude right there for you, with you and Kenny Omega. And that's about as far as Kenny Omega needs to go with you. So they're not happy. They got paid this much last week. He tries to write even more, an even bigger check, I guess. And he says, and Matt and Nick are like, well, you know what? We've had done enough of this shit, and we're going to take our anger out on you. They cover the camera, cover the camera, And the last thing you know, you hear Don Callis scream as something's going on. We don't know what it is. We find out later that he got beat the fuck out of, probably. Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson versus Peter Avalon is our next match. And this match just kind of pissed me off. First, Avalon comes in, and Cody Rhodes over the week said he was going to beat Peter Avalon within 1 minute. So Avalon runs in, gets hit with a crossroads, and he's going to go and he's hesitant to go pin the guy, but then Jade Cargill's music hits. She walks out to distract him so he can't get that 1 minute. And all she does is come out, laugh, and leave. Like, are you fucking serious? That's all she does? Avalon walks over Rhodes, leg punch, big chop in the corner, and then there comes a spot in this match, and this is what pissed me off. Cody goes for a leapfrog, and Avalon, I don't like this was either planned or that was on the fly or something. Avalon didn't get the height, or he didn't get the height of Avalon, or Avalon didn't duck low enough, and he collides with Cody's knee. And Cody's knee buckles. Cody gets thrown to the outside, and he's grabbing his knee. He gets back inside, he's still selling the knee. Then he does a cutter to Avalon, and then punches his fucking knee one fucking time, and it's like his knee was fucking fine the rest of the match. I know this whole adrenaline gets the best of you, but I can understand that if you're in like a 10, 15, 20 minute match where your body's beat up and everything. But he punched his knee like one fucking time, and it's like he's back to normal. And then he beats Peter Avalon because he puts him in the figure 4. They're like, oh, maybe he shouldn't do this because of his injured knee. Well, beats the hell out of me that he even had an injured knee because the guy goes out there and wrestles another few more minutes in this match as if nothing's going on. Then he gets in the figure 4. I believe Avalon slaps him. Cody goes to punch Avalon. Avalon winces and then taps out. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? That is fucking weak as hell. Then Cody gets up, he celebrates, and then he starts selling the knee. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You went like 2, 3, maybe even 5 minutes of this match, or how much time was left in this match, just not even selling the knee, and now I'm supposed to believe that, oh, my knee's starting to hurt now. I punched my knee once, and it's like superhuman strength for me to get back in there and wrestle this match. Put him in the figure 4, he taps out, and then, oh, my knee. Oh, the superhuman strength I had is all gone. This did not look good at all for Cody. I mean, Cody is having matches with guys like Peter Avalon to give them time and give them seasoning by working with a guy like Cody. And that's the product you give me? This was disappointing, first and foremost. Jade Cargill has done absolutely nothing on these shows. She hasn't wrestled on Dark. She hasn't wrestled on TV. She hasn't wrestled on a pay-per-view. She hasn't done shit except get in Cody's face and represent Shaq. Which, by the way, Cody is going to address Shaq's words from a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, it's a little late for that, don't you think? I mean, I don't want to see this Shaq-Cody thing that they're supposed to be going on with. It kind of just should have been something they let go. And if you're going to have Jade Cargill be in AEW, put her in the fucking ring or send her fucking home. It's not that hard. But, again, not a good look for Cody, and Peter Avalon is Peter Avalon. Backstage FTR with Tully Blanchard talk about FTR being ranked number 1 in the official rankings. Blanchard said they need the titles, though, and that's the bragging rights. Jurassic Express, but then Jungle Boy said he's sick of this, and that he knows he can beat either one of them. Dax Harwood says he'll take Jungle Boy on one-on-one next week. Luchasaurus says everyone will be at ringside, and he'll make sure nobody gets involved. Jungle Boy puts his hand out, and Harwood shakes it. Luchasaurus heads out of the room. Harwood tells Wheeler, I got this, and throws a glass towards the door with a little bit of wine, probably Jack Daniels in it. And I was like, that's a waste of alcohol. So Jungle Boy versus Dax Harwood could probably be a hell of a match next week. I haven't seen Dax wrestle singles much, so I don't know. We'll see. Jon Moxley versus Nick Kamarato. If you don't know who Nick Kamarato is and you haven't been watching AEW Dark, he is a beefy boy. He looks like he has tassels on his arms, so it felt like it's like he's what the Ultimate Warrior would look like in 2020 if he wasn't deranged. Without the face paint, by the way. I mean, if you put the Warrior face paint on Nick Kamarato, I swear you could say that looks like Jim Hellwig. Sort of. Like a knockoff Jim Hellwig, but yeah. So I thought, this is going to be a guy that this is just a way to get Moxley some in-ring time. This is the first match Jon Moxley has had since he got the title stolen from him by Kenny Omega all those months ago. Last month on December 2nd when he was screwed out of the AEW Championship. And this was actually giving Nick Kamarato some time to shine. Because he took it to Moxley. And this, honestly, in my opinion, was probably one of the best matches of the night. And that's not saying much. They talk about how Dustin and QT Marshall are watching Kamarato from the crowd. Kamarato chokes him out. This was a good showing for Nick Kamarato. And Moxley tried to do, I think it was a back suplex or a suplex or something, and he hurt his back. Because Nick Kamarato is that much bigger than him. So, him doing the elevated Death Rider was not going to happen. The elevated DDT wasn't going to happen in this match just because how strong this guy is. Now, Moxley with multiple kicks to the chest and looks for a suplex, but no. Moxley then hits a release German off the ropes. Moxley locks in the sleeper hold. Kamarato follows back. Moxley shifts to avoid the impact and holds on. His opponent goes good night, and Moxley wins by not submission, but knockout. Or pass out, whatever you want to call it. Moxley gets on the mic and says, Wednesdays are getting crazy and he can't keep track of who's on which team. He brings up Kenny Omega, bringing his friends from outside. He says all it is to him is more violence and necks to break. He says the taller the mountain is to climb, the sweeter it is when you get to the top. It says people can be brought in from Mexico to Japan, even to pretty much he's saying, I don't care if you're coming from AAA, New Japan, Nashville, New York, it doesn't matter. All roads lead to me. So Jon Moxley saying, just set them up and I will knock them all down because he wants to be AEW champion again. And I don't think he should be the next guy. I don't think he should be the guy to topple Kenny Omega. I think it should be somebody else. But by the end of the year, I could see Jon Moxley being a two-time AEW World Champion. Nash is backstage with Eddie Kingston. He faces Lance Archer for the first time next week. She asks how he's prepared for them. He says he doesn't. He just fights. Archer shows up, and Archer, a couple weeks ago, tweeted out a picture of it looked like his locks being cut and gone. But apparently that was all him just working everybody. He tells Kingston he's ready to fight and talks to him more, but Kingston doesn't want to hear about it and talks over him. Roberts tells Kingston to lead his guys, the Butcher and the Blade, behind next week and see how he does against Archer on his own, and he agrees with that. Backstage, Marvez asks Omega about what happened at the beach. Omega says he wasn't there. He doesn't have a comment. He goes to the locker room and sees Callis and face all bruised up. And Callis doesn't want Omega to get upset. Kenny wants to know who did that. Callis, trying to hold it back, who actually did it, mentions the Young Bucks. He's not happy about the fact that he slipped up. Marvez comes in and says, Don Callis, are you saying that the Young Bucks did this? And Callis is like, what the hell are you doing here? Get the hell out of here. So, yeah. Callis kicks him out and the cameraman as well. And then we go to our next match. Top Flight and Matt Hardy versus Private Party and Matt Hardy. Matt Sydal and Top Flight versus Private Party and Matt Hardy. Now, the story of this match is, if you didn't watch Impact last night, which I barely did, I only watched the main event, which was Private Party versus Chris Sabin and James Storm. The winner is the number one contenders to the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Championships, which Private Party won thanks to Jerry Lynn. And the story of this match is Matt Hardy is still trying to corrupt these guys. The good old boys, Private Party, who at the middle in October 2019 upset the Young Bucks, beating them in the tag team title tournament. Now, Matt Hardy's been trying to get them to do dirty, underhanded tactics to win their matches. Matt Hardy has said, by any means necessary. Matt Hardy, I think it was Mark Quinn tweeted out yesterday that he saw earlier today, saying he saw the match replay, and it's not how he wanted to win. Matt Hardy's like, you have to sacrifice to become kings. In a response. So they're having this match, heck of a match, and Matt Hardy is distracting the referee when we get to the end. Isaiah Cassidy comes up, hits who the hell was it? Hits Dante with a chair to the midsection. This gets Quinn looks over him and is like, just for a second, like, what the hell are you doing, man? But we don't see his face, but we see from the side, like the full face, we see the side. He cracks that smile and is like, I got you. Hits the shooting star press. 1, 2, 3. Matt Hardy and Private Party are your winners. And it looks like Matt Hardy has finally corrupted the guys, Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy, which Tony Schiavone actually, I believe, said, I can't believe they're the same two guys who beat the Young Bucks. Upset the Young Bucks. After the match, they beat the hell out of these guys even more. Top Flight get hit with 2 Twisted Fates, Seidel as well, and they celebrate after that. Backstage, MJF and Wardlow talk with Santana Ortiz, Sammy Guevara, and Jay Kager. MJF says if it were up to him, he wouldn't do this match tonight. MJF says Jericho is the leader of what he says go. Sammy then says if things were up to him, things would be very different. Sammy is held back. MJF cools things down and says let's go out there and finish this. Gives him all fist bumps. He says, he's like, I love these guys. And even though you don't like it, I love you too because this is a family. We have to work as a family for us to succeed. So, that's where we're going with this. Then we go to Penelope Ford with Kip Sabian, Miro, and Charles Taylor. I'm sorry, not Chuck Taylor. Charles Taylor. Sir Charles with his butler attire on, even with the white towel, versus legit Layla Hirsch. Now, on paper, Layla Hirsch would wrestle circles around Penelope Ford, a lot of people have said. And the biggest thing, of course, at this time is that Charles Taylor is Miro's butler for the next 2 weeks. He has to do, which they're losing a golden opportunity to have videos shot of Chuck Taylor being his butler. Didn't say anything like on BTE. They should be showing like what is going on with the butler at. We were supposed to get an update on him as Miro's butler. And honestly, we really didn't get that. I figured we would have got like a video of him cleaning Lana's bed, like making Lana's bed, like which of course Lana. It would be really hard to do that because Lana's on WWE television still, so they couldn't really use Miro's wife. They could have him cleaning the shower, like doing some other some butlery stuff at Miro's home, but no, they just had him come out pulled around like a little dog. That was that. I've noticed a lot with Penelope before that she hesitates a lot. It just seems like she hesitates on everything she does. Like, she doesn't have that rhythm. She doesn't have the smoothness of other wrestlers out there. It's like she wants to do something and she has to stop and think before she can do it. And that's never going to work in professional wrestling. I don't know if it's because she hasn't had the time or anything else. It just seems like she has a lot, like she's green as hell still, and it's like being only working once a week just doesn't seem to help. So Hirsch heads to the second rope. Ford trips her up and kicks as axe kicks missed. Hirsch with a big clothesline. Hirsch with a step-up flip to take out Sabin and Taylor for some reason. As she gets to in the ring, Ford with a pump kick to the face covers. Sabin holds down Hirsch's boot so she can't kick out for the 1-2-3, and Ford wins. Post-match, Miller calls Charles in and wants to update. He tells Taylor that can take him to new heights, but he has to let go of the past. He tells Taylor he needs to let Orange know that he's his best friend now. He's pointing right at him because Orange Cassidy's watching the match from the crowd. You need to tell him that I'm your best friend now. Chuck Taylor reluctantly says it with the most insincerity I've ever seen. Orange Cassidy takes his glasses off, turns around, and walks up the stands as if he's heartbroken. So this is only going to, the downside of them saying, until we get to Beach Break, which is only 2 weeks away, is that you only get this for 3 weeks, and it really feels like a waste of time. While they're exiting, it's like, something's going on in the back. And we see the Good Brothers beating up Pentagon Jr. They throw him into the garbage door. Kenny Omega and Don Callis show up. Kenny joins in beating him up. Anderson then chokes Pentagon with a cable. Omega hits Penta with his boot and jams his boot into his Penta's eye. No es bueno, calls Callis, yells as he laughs. The group leaves. Why they beat up Pentagon? I don't fucking know. Maybe it's because of what happened last week with the Good Brothers and the Lucha Bros. So next week we have Jungle Boy with Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt versus Dax Harwood with Cash Wheeler and Tully Blanchard. Eddie Kingston versus Lance Archer. Cody responds to Shaq's comments from a few weeks back, which again, it's too late for that. World Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks and Impact Wrestling Champions, Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers versus Evil, Stu Grayson, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds. In 2 weeks at Beach Break, the wedding of Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian, Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker with Reba Rebel, and the Tag Team Battle Royal where the winners will face the Young Bucks at Revolution. So, see, naming this Tag Team Gauntlet, this Tag Team Battle Royal, just in the same show that you had Tully Blanchard say, we're the number one contenders, again, kind of makes the number one contenders, it kind of makes the rankings worthless. It does. Why would you have Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler FTR continue to want to be number one contenders if anybody else can win a Battle Royal? The match at Revolution probably should not be FTR versus Young Bucks again. I think it's a little too early for that. I think that's going to be Double or Nothing, or I don't think they can get all the way to All Out with it. I think Double or Nothing is better because, honestly, we all criticize the build towards the Young Bucks and FTR 1. We need a better build, and having a few weeks between Beach Break and Revolution is not good enough. The winner, the Young Bucks should defend their titles at the Revolution, and then from there on, it should be the Young Bucks and FTR building towards the match at Double or Nothing. If you don't want to do a Double or Nothing, then it needs to be at All Out this year. Either or. Also, they announced a Women's World Championship eliminating tournament to determine the number one contender for the AEW Women's Championship. Now, something that they did not mention, but it was seen on the graphic, if you're watching the screen, on your right side was a Japanese flag, and on your left side was an American flag. They didn't say anything about this, so I don't know if it means that we're gonna have Joshi's on one side, and American wrestlers on the other side. I don't know. I think they should change that to Joshi's versus the World, because just having the American flag there, I know it's an American company and all, but it's kind of not all the women are from America. You have some from Canada, you have some like Layla Hirsch is from Russia, you're not going to put her in there. Thunder Rosa is from Tijuana, Mexico, stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see. They did not show who's in the bracket. It just showed a bracket. Chris Jericho and MJF versus Santana Ortiz versus Jake Hager and Sammy Guevara. Now, if you were a betting man, who do you think would win this match? Proud and Powerful, right? You think Proud and Powerful would be the team that they should have been from the start. They joined the Inner Circle to be the tag team of the brand, and they haven't been. Why? I don't know. AEW has kind of just dropped the ball with Proud and Powerful. They haven't really done anything like major in the tag team division. They haven't even been in the top 5, and it seems like forever. Well, I think they're 5th. But they haven't really been in the tag team title chase for at least it feels like months. But Sammy Hagar actually got a cameo or something from the actual Sammy Hagar, which I thought was funny. So this match is happening, and I will tell you right now, I figured, it's going to be one of those things where everyone holds back. No, nobody held back in this match. All 6 men wanted to go out there and win this for their team. This was a really good match. It really was. Now, during the match, they did announce the Beach Break main event is going to be Jon Moxley, Rey Fenix, and Pac versus Kenny Omega, Carl Anderson, and Doc Gallows. So that is your match because Penta was taken out of commission. Maybe he's injured and that's why they did it. That's why I think why they did it was to, 1, get Jon Moxley into the match with Kenny Omega before they have another title match. And 2, it's because Penta could be actually injured and they have to find a way out. So there's that. So there's just so much going on in this thing. You have fucking Jericho has his bat thrown to him, which Jake Hager just looks at that and boots him in the face. MJF gets the ring. Before he can do anything, Jake Hager knocks him on his ass. And it's just a fucking Pier 6 brawl. This is just crazy. MJF ends up hitting Wardlow off. Sammy has Wardlow up. MJF up in a fireman's carry. He knocks Wardlow off with him. MJF rolls Sammy up, grabbing the tights. 1, 2, 3. Jericho and MJF or the tag team for the Inner Circle. I do not see Proud and Powerful being around in the Inner Circle much longer. Why would you have this team right here lose and not be allowed to be the tag team of the Inner Circle? You put these guys into a group to have them be the tag team of the group, and now you're going to have MJF and Chris Jericho be that? I don't think so. MJF is breaking the Inner Circle up little by little. Now, if that's not the case and they're just going to sit around and do absolutely fucking nothing but be these guys' cronies, then you're wasting these guys. The Proud and Powerful has been held back by the Inner Circle for months. I think for about 6 to 7 months, really, when they stopped really focusing on tag team and just being part of the Inner Circle. I think it's time to break the Inner Circle up. I think it's getting to that time where you got to break the Inner Circle up. Sammy Guevara might still be around there. It's going to be, Proud and Powerful is just going to be done. They want to be tag team champions. They want to win the tag team titles. They can't do it with the Inner Circle now because they did not win. And, yeah. Was this a good episode of AEW? No. This was probably the weakest episode in a while. I don't know where they're going with any of this stuff. It's going to be interesting. I hope we have news on Pentagon if he's actually injured and that's why they went with that, or they just wrote him off so they can get Jon Moxley into the match. Pac and Moxley will be an interesting duo because they did have that feud last year. Or was it the year before that? Yeah, it was last year, wasn't it? Or was it the year before that? It was in the last year or so. But yeah, that is AEW in a nutshell. It was decent at best. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/France Club. And find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I'll see you guys Friday for SmackDown and the fallout from last week's show when Adam Pearce outsmarted Roman Reigns. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.